Your report is called Satisfaction.
Satisfaction.
S-I-T-E in capital letters. And then you are checking out. You're showing that banking fraud is on the rise. What are the reasons?
Dan, I think let's take a look at the numbers for a moment. I mean, in my lifetime alone, we've grown from 4 billion people on the planet to 7 billion. In South Africa alone, we've grown from 42 million to 52 plus million. And we've gone from 0 internet users to almost 100% of the country having an active connection. So it means that it's new technologies on new platforms, on new devices, very pervasive, easily accessible. And unfortunately, we see culprits trying to take advantage of South Africans.
Yeah, now people still get caught. There's all kinds of scams that are happening bank-wise in terms of people's monies being siphoned out under all kinds of pretenses. And there are also all kinds of things that are being promoted that take part in this and you win this in these tough times. Why is that we still get caught in these kind of things?
That's a very good question. I think there's probably a part in every one of us who wants to believe in, you know, that fairy tale, for instance. And I think some of the scams that you've mentioned now, for example, the classic 419 scam or the pay-to-play scam, which is essentially just asking you for a small piece of information or a small donation with the promise of wealth to follow. And unfortunately, that wealth doesn't follow. As you correctly point out, wealth actually gets siphoned off of you.
And in these tough financial times, our wallets, our pockets are really tight and smaller, and somebody promises you some soft loan, you get enticed.
Absolutely, and you click on the link and you supply the details that they request.
So we've got new scams, and there have been the old ones. You've mentioned 419. I mean, what should I do? I mean, I'm just going to use a very quick practical examples. Last year sometime, I looked at my bank statement after a couple of months, and I went back like 3 or 4 months. I noticed a 99 Rand coming off to some debit, to somewhere that I don't know. And then I phoned my bank and they gave me a number for somebody else to check. Then I found this some company in Pretoria with some number, and they said, no, it's not them, it's somebody in KwaZulu-Natal. By the time I found somebody in Durban, I couldn't get out of anybody, but fortunately the bank returned my 99 rands. But I had to prove that I had not authorized a debit order.
I'm totally with you, and I think, you know, on that point, the banks can be a little bit more proactive in terms of communicating with their customers. It shouldn't be you following up with the bank, it should be the bank following up with you, and potentially warning you on upcoming threats, upcoming scams currently looming.
So what more can the banks be doing currently, I mean, to make sure that they build, for instance, a strong security around their systems, and as you've just said, make me as a client more aware, make you as a client more aware?
Then I think it's very easy to be tough on the banks. You know, they're the ones with all the money. Unfortunately, they can warn you about 100 scams and you get taken for scam number 101. I think with the dynamic nature of what these mobile applications look like, consider the traditional branch. You go into there's a double door, the green, the red light, the burly gentleman with a long gun. The app changes from time to time, the face changes from time to time, and I think if the bank is a bit more proactive to warn you, to say, we've noticed that this is happening, or people are trying to take advantage via spoofing a website or trying to access your PIN or your one-time password, banks can be a bit more proactive in communicating that.
Yeah, but in the financial services world, also insurers are victims of fraud.
I think any financial service provider, in fact, any mass market brand, the telcos, I think, are just as likely to get hacked or potentially lead to compromising their
Alex, before you go, I don't know if your research has touched on this, but it is something that's top of mind. We now have got cryptocurrencies. We've got this virtual currency people are trading on, and you hear all this and you hear that. What, from your research as Columinate, in terms of what you're finding out, and what can people really do for themselves to make sure they don't get caught in some funny stuff that they think is legit?
Then I think it's going to sound ridiculous, but I would just preach common sense. If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Your bank won't ask you for specific details, so when you do get that call, don't worry about being nice to the voice on the phone. Rather trust your gut, be rude if you have to, and get out of there before you're compromised.
Alex, thank you very much for your time, and good luck with more of your research there. Now, in other stories this morning, it's about 1:30 in the early hours of the morning in Canada, and police there are responding to